Hi viewers, in Telecom Legends series, today we have got Mr. Pankaj Mohindroo. Mr. Mohindroo doesn't need any introduction, as you all know, he's a poster boy of telecom industry. He is a person like who is very well known in telecom and electronic industry. He is working very closely with government ministries, various companies, and I think in this series is probably one of the most important person, and also is so important for us because he's also for last 11 years he has been associated with skilling telecom sector skill council. He is a founder secretary and he's also secretary emeritus with us. So I think interacting with him will be very useful and very interesting. So Pankaj, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. Thanks a lot. So Pankaj, just our viewers would like to hear from you, understand from you in last 25 years, because you have been most active person as far as telecom, electronics, and handset industry is concerned. So, what do you say about the progress what we have made in 25 years?
Thank you for having me, Arvind. It's a pleasure to be here. If you've seen that movie, The Last Emperor, in the last scene when the captain comes to meet the emperor, and he says that the emperor asks him, "Please tell me how the samurai died." So he said, "No, no, I'll tell you how the samurai lived."
Okay.
So I'm going to slightly turn your question on the head because I have not been associated for 25 years. I've been associated for 23 years.
Right.
Association started in 2020. So and I'm not too, I think I've not missed much because the first 5 years were very torturous and, the industry had not really come onto its own. Uh, as far as mobile phones were concerned, by till 2001, we were essentially almost 100% gray market. Hardly any phones were sold in India in the legal market. And the first objective was to create a legal market through enforcement, rationalization of that time sales tax and duties. And that effort lasted about 2, 3 years. And we were able to clean up the market. It came to about 90% legal market after that. So that was the first starting point. Uh, then the transition to smartphones began in the late by 2008-9. In between, we had the great Nokia infrastructure coming up, and which was essentially feature phones manufacturing. We were manufacturing feature phones for the entire world. It was the largest plant in the world, and it continued till in full stream till 2012, and then it started going down, and it shut down in 2014. So by 2014, things were very grim. We did not have. Uh, there were only two plants left in India, Samsung and Micromax, and we started rebuilding the industry at that time. Government of India formed a task force. I was privileged to be the chairman of the task force. It was called the Fast Track Task Force. The idea was to come up with set of recommendations quickly, and the entire industry was represented in that. And people from IT, senior people from IT were represented in that task force also. So out of that work of the task force came some landmark recommendations like phased manufacturing program, which India started getting re-established. Now, uh, I'm very happy to inform all the viewers that from a small number of 18,900 crores, which was our manufacturing output in 2014-15, last year we hit 350,000 crores of
Oh,
manufacturing.
oh,
And what is even more satisfying is that our exports of mobile phones are 90,000 crores, 22, 23. Uh, And in 2014-15, almost 80% of our domestic market was supplied by completely built units from China. So it's been a very huge turnaround, and we are very satisfied as far as mobile phone manufacturing comes. Now, how the samurai lived that part of this thing, that
Correct.
what are we aspiring for, and uh, what have we missed? Uh, we missed some opportunities because India's regulatory framework, our taxation policies were not keeping in pace with the world. And in 2010-11, a lot of manufacturing shifted to Vietnam, which has been a big loss for India. Vietnam is a very large electronic manufacturer, and with exports of $130 billion, it's the second biggest exporter in the world. We are the second largest manufacturer of mobile phones in volume, but in value, Vietnam is ahead of us. So that is something which we missed. And we are determined that uh, in the future, we'll be, as a nation, more careful to make sure that we don't miss these opportunities and we are able to get more of the global GDP to our country rather than, leaking it through imports to the rest of the world. Yeah.
Good. So, Pankaj, as far as because I know, and I think our viewers will also love to know from you, you have been like a force person who was like initially involved. First, PLI policy came for handset electronic side, and you were really part of it. And then it became sort of a rage, and every industry came out with a PLI scheme. So, just like to hear from you, like from where the idea came and like how it has helped the industry.
We used to have schemes like MEIS, etc., in which all exports were covered, even if you were exporting $1 million. So it was 4%, then it was 2%. So these were policy instruments which were given to all and sundry. It was not a targeted approach. So we had by that time reached our domestic market demand when the PLI was conceptualized. And it was important that we grow exponentially. And for that, it was important to sell to the entire world. Now, when you sell to the world, you have to be more competitive.
Right.
You know, you have to be the most competitive, not just competitive. So we did a very elaborate study. Uh, First was to compare three national models: China, Vietnam, and Brazil, right? And Brazil has been a import substitution protectionist environment, and we saw that they were able to build electronic manufacturing, but it gradually eroded, and they are almost left with nothing. Their domestic market being small, so they're just left with that. And the right models to follow were China and Vietnam. And so this policy instrument was formulated keeping in mind that after you've met the domestic demand for incremental volume, which is, both domestic and this thing, and for an exponential growth, and also uh, ensuring that the supply chain becomes very competitive, we recommended this instrument that you have a production linked incentive, right? Because production link incentives are compatible with our World Trade Organization also, because it's not a export subsidy, it's a production incentive, and it mitigates our disabilities to some extent. So it's been extremely successful. Uh, there was also another historic step which we took in this PLI, which is first time in history of our nation that we targeted development of Indian champions along with global scale, which the lead firms uh, like the GVCs, like Apple, Dell, HP, Samsung, they would be undertaking, along with development of the Indian champions. So the production of $200 and below was kept reserved for Indian companies with 51% resident Indian ownership. So that uh, the our vision of seeing that India develops as the leader in the entry level segments, which is where our huge domestic volumes are also there, that vision is fulfilled.
Hats off to you, Pankaj. I think the way you led the industry and make it happen, I think it makes us all really proud. And now we move to our rapid fire section. So, Pankaj, surprisingly, in last 20 minutes, we didn't hear any शेर जिसके लिए आप इतने मशहूर हैं, आपके इतने बढ़िया हर एक मौके के लिए कोई ना कोई शेर होता है. तो आज इस यूथ के लिए कोई ऐसा शेर आपके ध्यान में आता है?
This is a शेर, this is a couplet from Iqbal. इश्क के मिज़राब से नगमाए तारे हयात, इश्क से नूरे हयात, इश्क से नारे हयात. Ishq is passion. That
Right,
if you are passionate, ishq ke mizrab. So mizrab is that little thing with which you can play the string. So
right,
its passion can, create multi-dimensional impact.
right,
So my message is that, build your nation with deep passion and commitment.
right. So, Pankaj, you're one person I see that I think you're always surrounded with books. You read a lot many books. Any one book, which you like to recommend? I know it's very hard for you,
Yes.
but still.
I recommend two books. Uh, the Silicon, the one I'm forgetting the name. It's a very very nice book. Is it Cyber Wars or I'm forgetting the name actually. I
Okay,
read it. The other one is a book which profiles great personalities. It's
okay,
called Silk to Silicon.
okay,
So it covers 8 or 10 centuries, the people who made a difference to the world.
right.
So
Uh,
I
so, in your lifetime, like if you have to describe one or two products which really fascinated you, like some technology wise, otherwise, which are those products?
see on 29th June 2007, the world changed when the iPhone was launched. This is the purest digital product which has created a revolution in the consumer's hand. It's the epitome of fantastic design and very high technology
Right.
uh, and integrated operating system and everything. The whole digital ecosystem came around this. So this is, I would put it as the product of the last 2 centuries.
Good. So, which are your favorite two, three countries and why?
I would say my favorite countries at this moment are Korea, Taiwan, and China, where who have done dramatic transformation in the shortest possible time and pulled out the maximum people from poverty in one generation. So it is truly incredible. And I think India has a lot to learn from these countries.
Right. And in your opinion, purely in your opinion, one thing which every youth should learn to be successful in life.
I think it's the only way to succeed is hard work and lot of hard work and a 15-day schedule 15-hour schedule, sorry, which, today the youth have so much at their command, and the whole environment is so evolved that when we put in this amount of work, we could not produce the same results which the youth can today do. So huge amount of hard work and enjoy your work. I think that's really important.
गुड। सो पंकज, आप खुद बहुत बुलंदियों पे पहुंचे हैं, और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि आप देश को एक अलग बुलंदी पे ले जाने के लिए सारा टाइम तत्पर रहते हैं, काम करते हैं। ये एक हम सब के लिए एक बहुत अच्छी मोटिवेशन है। एंड मेरे को लगता है कि यूथ आपका आज का ये इंटरेक्शन देख के बहुत खुश होंगे, और दे विल फॉलो यू ऑन all your digital social media, where you put some very, very good articles. We all benefit from that. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.